계속해서 공유경제에 대한 얘기를 해보도록 하겠습니다. 이 공유경제의 중심에는 이 협력과 공존을 강하게 원하는 사람들이 있습니다. 바로 소비자겠죠. 이 소비자들이 서로 다양한 의견을 나누고 그리고 통합된 얘기를 나누어서 커뮤니티 그룹이 형성이 됩니다. 이들이 협력해서 내놓은 아이디어가 제조업 현장에서도 굉장히 큰 영향력을 발휘하고 있다고 합니다. 세계 최초의 오픈소스 자동차 혁신 회사인 로컬 모터스의 존 로저스 CEO 모시고 다양한 이야기를 또 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 공동창조시대 21세기 신산업혁명의 태동이라는 주제로 발표하겠습니다. 박수 부탁드립니다. 존 로저스입니다.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. I want to say to the translators in the audience that you have my most sincere gratitude for all the work that you've done. And since the only two Korean words that I know, harumni and haruji, have been used already, we're going to have to do something else to wake you up. So, you've just had lunch, one presentation ago, and it was impressive that you stayed awake for the first presentation after lunch, but now we're going to try something else. I'm going to ask you to say an English phrase. It's under the boardwalk. Can I hear it? Okay, and now with a little tune, a little melody. Under the boardwalk? Okay. Oh, when the sun beats down and shines the light up on the roof. Oh, well, your feet get so hot, you wish your tired feet were fireproof. Come on. I'm listening. I sang. You? Down by the sea, on a blanket with my baby, is where I'll be. Thank you. Now, every time you fall asleep, when I'm singing, when I'm talking, I'm going to make you say under the boardwalk. Deal? All right. Let's talk about cars. I've got less than 20 minutes now to make you know what I know about the future of cars, and I am excited to share it with you. Local Motors is a revolution in the way in which we think about building cars in the world. This revolution we think of as already happened in many ways. It exists around the world. Today, everywhere, in almost every country, people drive in vehicles. Two-wheeled vehicles, three-wheeled vehicles, and more. How many people in this audience, show of hands, have never ridden on a vehicle? Let me see you. There's a brave guy up there. All right. So we've all had an experience with one. It is more ubiquitous than the cell phone that's in your pocket. Vehicles mean more to your life than the electronics that you carry around in your pocket every day. They deliver those electronics to you and they keep the world moving. It is the physical center of everything that we do. And yet, your clothing, your music, your electronics, certainly your software, all develop at a pace faster than our vehicles. My distinguished colleague from Hyundai spoke earlier about smart cars. He said it right. We've had many revolutions in cars, but we need our cars to become smart. And they're not as smart as the rest of the things around us. And that, as a global community, is shameful. And it's shameful in an era where we've had the World Wide Web for over 20 years. Yes, we first started sharing documents, as Tim said earlier this morning, but now we share much more than documents. We share apps, we share programs, we share files that are full of information. And that is what we want to take advantage of. So, at Local Motors, we invite a global community of people to come together to design, to build, and to sell specialty automotive. Now, what does that mean? We do it out of three properties. We design on the forge, we build in a microfactory, and we sell in the shop. That is it. It's very simple. But the world that you and your parents and your grandparents grew up knowing is we design in a room with a small number of designers and engineers that work at a big company. We build in a massive factory, and we sell at distributed dealerships and distributorships all over the world. That is a very different economy than the one I imagine in the future. It all starts with you. Groups of people like in this room who are passionate about a new way of doing things. For us, our community is the community of people who have all driven in a vehicle. And since you've all promised me, since nobody except that brave gentleman up there has had anything but an experience of driving in a vehicle, you all know what I'm talking about. You're either a maker, you're an engineer, you're a designer, or you just know something about the vehicle that you've driven in. So welcome aboard to our community. That innovation is tied to another one that's maybe not so clear, and that's what a microfactory is. So a microfactory is a microfactory. If you can get that, I won't make you sing again today. But here's the kicker on the microfactory, and a little bit of seriousness here. 5 times faster and 100 times less capital. It makes all the difference in the world. If you can make things faster and you can make them with less money, then you can adopt technology faster, you can move toward more customization, and you can make customers happier. You can make customers happier. That is what we're after. I think people say things like, the future of the automotive industry is the cell phone, because they've forgotten how to be happy with their vehicle. People have said that the future Ford Mustang is a smartphone. I think that's junk. And I'm serious about that. We've forgotten how to be happy with the vehicles that we drive. And that means everything. It's not just fuel economy. We spend so much time talking about being more eco-friendly. That is important, but it's only one step along the way to making you and you and you want to buy that vehicle, want to own it. So this is how it works for us. We start in the forge. We design in the forge. And that is a global collaboration that is free. We have over 30,000 members today that come in, and they partake in the design of bicycles and motorcycles and cars, and they share ideas that sound crazy. I want a car that's 1/8 the weight of the car that was there before me. I want something that doesn't make any noise when I go forward. I want someone where I can get into the CAN bus system in the vehicle and can program the electronic stability control that I want. How many of you know what that is? A few. We're about to start singing. Okay, so it moves on from design and we go into build in the microfactory. We've talked a little bit about what that is, but what it really means for us is in a very small space, we can produce between 500 and 1,000 vehicles a year. Now, 500 to 1,000 vehicles a year, but the most important thing is with almost no capital invested. It's humans, it's hand tools, no robots, and we focus on turning things out quickly to a standard of quality that meets 6 Sigma. Bringing down the cost and allowing things to be micro-manufactured allows us to be able to change month by month and year by year. It's a different way. These vehicles that you see up here were all produced at our microfactory. Very different. One was a military vehicle made for a specific region of the world. The other one was a vehicle made for on-road and off-road driving in the desert. And the other one is a lightweight motorcycle that uses a couple of different technologies in it. All designed in our community. And the last piece is the selling. An automotive ecosystem deserves to be as fun to shop in as a clothing store. But today we shop with automotive in very weird ways. We look at magazines where we dream of buying things, but they're all mashed together. And yet, if you look at people's preferences, they're not all mashed together. Some people want a vehicle that fits a whole family, and some people want something that is for very hot weather, and other people want something that works for a connected environment. Some people don't want to be distracted when they're driving. Other people can't think of anything else but being distracted. So selling in an automotive environment, our shop is about combining the themes that you're interested in and making those products available for you to be able to find them. It's the future of Amazon. It's the future of eBay. It's taking contextualized, community-based products and putting the products next to them that you want to see. So design, build, sell. Pretty simple. Now, I'm going to give you some detail about how we do it so we can get down to some things and tell you about what the sort of takeaway is that you could bring. If people ask you, okay, I learned how to sing Under the Boardwalk today, and I learned about local motors. What is it? Local Motors does design faster, at less cost, because we have more people. Faster, at less cost, because we have more people. How many people here have heard of Tesla? Got some hands. Chevrolet Volt, the Volt. Okay, we've got some hands. So some good recognition. These are new car programs. Those car programs to me look like old car programs. And the reason why is because of this data. When you look at how many days it took Tesla to put their 25th car on the road, that takes too long. I can't even count that many days. That's like 1,800 days. I don't even know how many years that is. It took us 16 months to put our 25th car on the road from the time it was sketched. The first car that we designed by over 500 people on the web and led by a young Korean man named Sang-ho Kim. Sang-ho came up with an idea that he wanted to see made real. Community rallied around it, and that car was in the 25th customer's hand in 16 months. That's amazing. But more amazing is that we did it for $3 million. Now, I'm not going to say that that car did everything that the most expensive vehicle in the world would bring you, or the most refined vehicle in the world will bring you. But what it did do was very, very important. It did it with 30,000 people that came and took a look. 500 people contributed to the design of that vehicle. That is a revolution, because those people that came online to take part in the design of that vehicle made that innovation happen faster and at less cost. This is what my profile looks like at Local Motors. It's got my name, just looks like a social board. Like you can direct message me, you can follow me, you can do those sorts of things, but more importantly, you can track how many ideas that I put in, how many concepts, and I get credit for all those things that I do. That's what's up in the upper corner. So not only can you share, but you get tracked for what you do. This is also part of the revolution of changing the value of intellectual property as it appeals or as it approaches the subject of car design. Who should own the idea that gets put out? How does my name get attached to what I did? Where are my moral rights? At Local Motors, on the Forge, we're trying to solve that problem in a way that's more collaborative. Tim said this morning that the web needs to be distributed royalty-free. I think car design needs to be distributed royalty-free, because there's so many people that have good ideas that are better than others. So a case study. Let's look at this. We had a company that came to us, a motorcycle company, DP Customs, and they wanted to design a lightweight neoclassical motorcycle using a V-twin engine and a bunch of composites. This is a real challenge that happened at Local Motors in the last 2 months. That took 4 weeks for us to do. Almost 200 projects were entered, and 151 of them were rated to be made. You can see the stats here. Entries came from 25 countries, but the most important thing is that that bike will be real on July 13th of this year. July 13th of this year, and we just finished a competition which sourced 151 entries, and this was the winner. That's amazing. Thank you. And you can say thank you to Ane Kostrovic. Ane is from Portugal. He's not from Brooklyn. He's not from Milwaukee. He's from Portugal, and he designed this bike. Does not speak English, but he designs beautifully. And he used the components that were necessary from us and the company, the sponsor company that are making it, to be able to create this. And so that will be on the manufacturing floor next to the cars, next to the bikes. And you'll be able to come in and you can actually take part in the build of your own motorcycle if you choose to. You will know more about your built and driving environment than anybody else. You can also shop according to the motorcycle madness theme that it anchors. So all the products that you use on that bike, even if you can't afford the whole bike, you can buy things that make it look like you afforded the whole bike. Okay. We're going to do this again and again and again. And you're going to hear from me and our community again and again and again, because this is a freight train that isn't going to stop. It's about industrial design. It's about engineering. It's about changing the way in which we view our built environment, and across every kind of vehicle. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it's not. It's not about mass production. Henry Ford, Gottlieb Daimler, Otto Benz, Maybach, Ono, Toyota, people who pioneered automotive design and development, great theories for a great time. But now the world is changed. It's not changing, it's changed already. And we need to do things faster. We know what we need to do, but we don't know how to do it faster without using each other to be able to get it done. So, some theory for you to be able to take away so that you know what we do is backed up by other things. We weren't the first. I'm very, very passionate about saying that I take ideas that were good and use them liberally. I don't make things up out of my head that often that are that genius. In fact, I don't know that I've ever had a genius thought in my life, but I'm a good copycat. So let's talk about some of the theory that's out there. The world has moved in the last 5 years from bytes to bits. Bytes were where we started when we started thinking about collaboration. CERN, the World Wide Web, the internet, Linux, open source programming. These are things that many, many people in a digital forum know. They did not bring me here today. You did not bring me here today to sing. And you didn't bring me here today to talk about digital. Why I feel like I'm here is to talk about how to bring those lessons into the physical environment, making things into bits, not just the bytes that we use them. Bill Joy, who co-founded Sun Microsystems, said this quote now almost 10 years ago. And he said, no matter who you are, the smartest people in the world work for somebody else. Well, that's a bummer if you're an HR professional, because you spent all this time trying to hire the smartest people to work for you, and suddenly they work for somebody else. How'd that happen? They just went away. It took the British 150 years to come to their industrial revolution. It took the United States 50 years to come into its industrial revolution. The Asian manufacturing explosion that we've seen in the Koreas, and we've seen in China, and we've seen in other areas of Southeast Asia has happened much faster, much, much faster, because of a well-planned, organized theory about how to build products. So what's going to happen next? I really ask you, what is going to happen next? Is the next revolution that we come through just going to be 5 years faster than the last? And is it going to happen in a country that we haven't even heard of yet? I think we got the answer this morning from Tim. And the answer is, it's not going to come from a country at all. It's already coming, and it's coming from individuals. People, individuals are the root of the next industrial revolution, because of what collaboration has brought us. We now not only have the tools to share bytes, we've been doing that for 20 years, but we can now share how to make bits. You hear about 3D printing and you love it because it shows you how to make something that you couldn't hold in your hand seconds before. Well, there's way more than 3D printing out there. Some of the tools are old, some of the tools are new, but they all are experiencing a change that looks like this. Violin makers and guitar makers used to make products like this: a journeyman and an apprentice standing next to each other and saying, "Young man, you make it this way." "Yes, sir, I'll make it that way." Today, they look like this. What's the difference between these two pictures? This one and this one. What's the difference? It's not the machines. It's the information behind the machines. That's the difference. That's the tidal wave that's changed that we'll never come back from. This is how those two older people used to transmit information. This is how they transmit it today. It's just information, but one is only shareable if you can make a paper airplane out of it and throw it across the world. The other one is shareable because you can put it in a computer and share it to the same audience all at the same time. Okay, what it allows you to do is to make amazing violins and guitars, and that's what it's about. It's a revolution that's faster, it's better, and it's more individual. So you got to choose what you want. And I've chosen to avoid the unsustainable. I don't want a world that looks like this, where all the cars are the same. They look really neat when you're inside them, but from the outside to an alien coming down from outer space, they really haven't changed. That's not what I want. I want to overtake the status quo, and I want to do it fast, and I want to do it with you. So here's a video that I'd like to show you that shows one of our vehicles, the one that was designed by that young Korean boy, young man, 18 years old seems like a boy more and more. And this is that vehicle running. 16 months to develop. If we can do that in 16 months, just imagine what we can do in the next 5 years. Join the revolution at Local Motors. Thank you so much.